I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but that feeling when you feel like you're alone, and it can't get any lonelier than this, bro.
23 and I've never had a boyfriend.
Can we start normalizing being single and that it's okay to not be in a relationship or want to be in a relationship at this time? Please.
Did you know that studies show modern women are experiencing higher levels of loneliness than ever before? Today, we're diving into something juicy, the loneliness epidemic among modern women. Yep, it's a real thing, and it's got a lot to do with why guys just aren't dating anymore. Grab your popcorn, because this is going to be a fun ride through the wild world of love, or lack thereof.
I think I'm quite lonely. And I feel really bad for saying that because I have friends. It's not that I don't have friends, but everybody grows up and has different interests, and I kind of don't know where I fit in anymore. It's 6:15. I am halfway ready for bed. I'm not really hungry. I don't think... How do you make friends in your 30s? And I do have friends. It's not that I don't have anyone to turn to, but where do I get hobbies? Where do I meet new people? How do you, if you're not married and you don't have kids, and I don't know, maybe I don't go out and drink a lot anymore, and I just don't know what.
The problem she's facing is that her personal life feels like a deserted island. Friends are awesome, but they can only fill so much of that heart-shaped hole. Eventually, you start craving that emotional closeness with a partner. You know, someone to share those late-night snacks and inside jokes with. A lot of women are feeling this way after being single for a long time. It's like their hearts are sending out an SOS for some lovey-dovey moments. But here's the kicker, it's just a phase. So if you're wondering why so many women are on this quest to fall in love, you're not alone. It's totally normal to feel this way. And hey, it's all part of the adventure. Remember, this too shall pass.
Men and women experience loneliness very differently. Men have a tendency to feel lonely because they don't have the options for partnership. Women feel as if the options are not the right ones for them. Which way do you feel? Do you agree with this as a man or a woman? How do you experience loneliness?
If a man feels lonely today, it's because in this generation, the expectations he has to meet are just plain ridiculous. So because he can't meet them, he chooses to stay by himself. Most of these guys have had very peaceful lives without a woman. Back in the day, a man could have gotten a woman without having to do all these crazy things. But times have changed. Women feel lonely because they are looking for perfection, a man with no flaws who ticks all their boxes. Little do they know, that guy only exists in their imagination. No one is perfect. They're chasing a fairy tale instead of embracing reality, and that's why they can't find happiness.
Why do men not understand hints? Why do I have to spell every fucking thing out? Why can't you just one simple little hinting at this? Fucking understand what I'm trying to say? I don't want to have to spell everything out like I'm your mother.
I think it might be time to normalize being single and alone. I'm really sick of people making it sound like, you know, in order to be happy, like in your future and everything else, you have to find your person, because people will be like, oh, don't worry, you'll find someone eventually, or something along those lines. And it's like, okay, but it's okay if I don't also. And by you saying that kind of makes me feel worse about not finding someone. And like, I shouldn't. Like, it's absolutely okay. Some people don't find their person in life. A lot of people don't. And I feel especially nowadays with the way things have changed. So maybe let's just, you know, get rid of the stigma that you have to be with someone and just embrace being single, because it's okay.
I've realized this is something that women in their 30s are telling themselves so they can feel comfortable with the lifestyle choices they've made. They also have this saying where 40 is the new 20, which is absolutely not true, because there are women in their 40s struggling with dating. If being single at 30 is something these women choose to do, I hope they realize that moving forward, it doesn't get any easier. The dating pool gets smaller, the competition gets tougher, and the fairy tale expectations remain just that, a fairy tale. So if you're in your 30s and thinking, hey, I've got all the time in the world, think again. Life keeps moving, and those perfect partners you're dreaming of, they're not waiting around. Embrace the imperfections, and maybe you'll find that happiness doesn't have an age limit.
Most of the time I love being single. I am very comfortable being single, but tonight I hung out with friends and I had a great time, and then I was driving home and I started feeling this like wave of depression and anxiety, and I wasn't really sure what it was related to or where it was stemming from. And then I got home and I felt like just so sad and lonely, and I walked into my empty apartment and I thought, God, I wish that I had someone who could just hold me right now. Like, I wish that I had someone who could just take care of me, because I have to take care of myself every single day and it's fucking exhausting. And I just want someone to take care of me every now and then.
Adults are required to take care of themselves. Many girls reach that point where their friends are in good relationships while they're still flying solo. They get tired of being an adult and start wanting someone to take care of them. Loneliness is something we all feel, but it hits differently when you've shut people out of your life. When you're younger, you might brush off loneliness, but as you get older, it starts to weigh heavier. Men and women experience loneliness very differently. In her case, it sounds like she's looking for someone to come and handle her baggage because it's just too much for her to carry on her own. Everyone needs help sometimes, but the key is to find a partner who wants to share the load, not just someone to dump it all on. It's about finding balance and sharing responsibilities. So don't wait until you're overwhelmed with loneliness and stress. Open up, let people in, and build those connections that make life richer and more fulfilling.
I have reached my breaking point of having to do this life thing alone. I just want to be held, nurtured, loved, cared for, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, in all aspects. I want my heart and soul to be seen and held. I just can't do it alone anymore, and I'm at my breaking point. I can do it physically alone. I've been doing it, but I don't want to. I don't deserve to, because I am worthy of companionship, of community, of love, of affection, of support, of someone lifting me up, motivating me, encouraging me. I am worthy of that. So I deserve to receive that. I don't want to do it alone anymore, and I've been crying all day because of it.
I understand being alone and lonely can be a painful thing to endure, but these women come on camera and cry about how hard it is, yet they keep forgetting to look in their friend zone. I'm sure they can find a guy there who's been trying to get with them, or better yet, they can check their inbox messages. The thing is, these women aren't doing that because they're all looking for a certain type of man. There are so many good men out here, but here's the kicker. One woman said, "Your definition of a good man isn't ours." The kind of good man they're looking for is the guy who will accept their baggage no matter what and finance their lifestyle while they kick their feet up. So many good guys have been burned in marriages. If a good man isn't good enough for you, then no man is good enough for you. You'll just keep running around in circles, being passed around. Another thing I notice is that a good man is always enough for a good woman. It's always the modern women who think a good man isn't enough for them. They keep chasing this illusion of perfection while ignoring the real gems right in front of them. Maybe it's time to stop looking for Mr. Perfect and start appreciating Mr. Right. Because in the end, happiness comes from mutual respect, love, and shared dreams, not just from a fat wallet and perfect looks.
Something I had to learn is that it's okay to admit that you're lonely. I think as a strong, independent Black woman, as a strong, independent woman, I think it is like this notion of you take care of yourself. And like, I think people look at me and they're like, you're so strong, you go on these trips, you do all these things. And yeah, I do that, but I still like crave partnership, right? And companionship. And I think in my last video when I shared that I went out to eat by myself because I was lonely, it's okay to admit that, like, yeah, some days I do want to lay on the couch and cuddle, right? Like, I do a lot for myself. And in this economy, taking care of your house, paying your bills, doing all the things by yourself is draining. So shout out to you if you also do that. But it is okay to do all those things and still want and crave, like, the intimacy that comes with spending time with someone, right? Going on dates, all the things. I think the moral of what I'm saying is that it's okay to be lonely. It's okay to want to go on dates, right? It's okay to crave intimacy. Like, these are normal feelings. So don't ever feel bad about it. And I think if we shared it more, it would just help. So this is me sharing it more.
It's okay to want these things. It's also okay to not date a woman who's constantly claiming to be a strong, independent woman. For most girls, this is what's keeping them single. They think proclaiming their independence is somehow attractive, but in reality, it can be a big turnoff. Here's the deal. Independence is great, but when it's shouted from the rooftops, it can sound like there's no room for a partner in their life. Men like to feel needed, not in a save me way, but in a let's build something together way. So ladies, keep being awesome and self-sufficient, but remember that relationships are about partnership. It's about two people coming together to share their lives, not proving who needs the other less. If you can find a balance between being independent and being open to love, you might just find that special someone who appreciates all of you, strength and vulnerability included.
My question is, why are these beautiful women single, bro? Why the fuck am I single, bro? Why the fuck am I single? Guys, I've been single. I'm gonna be single. Oh my, I'm gonna be single for 4 fucking years now.
These women choose to be single because they're looking for a very specific type of guy to date. And because other women are also competing for that same type of man, it makes the whole process even harder. So overall, she's single because the guy she wants does not want her. It's like a crowded shopping mall on Black Friday. Everyone's after the same deal, and only a few will get it. The reality is, the more selective you are, the smaller your pool of potential partners becomes. These women are chasing after the same idealized version of a man, the one who's got the looks, the money, the charm. But the truth is, that guy is a hot commodity and he's got plenty of options. He might not be interested in her because he's already spoiled for choice. So, while they're busy competing for Mr. Perfect, they're missing out on all the amazing guys who don't fit their narrow criteria.
I want to see what all the 40-year-old faces look like.
Hi, I'm 40. 40 is like the new 20, okay? Everything is better in your 40s. Everything. And I mean everything. So bring it on, 40. I just turned 40. Have a good day.
Smiling while telling lies, 40 is not the new 20 and nothing is easier. They might plaster on a grin and say it's all fine, but deep down, they know the truth. Life doesn't magically get simpler as you get older, and pretending otherwise is just fooling yourself. The reality is, as you hit your 40s, the dating game changes. The pool of available partners isn't the same as it was in your 20s, and the expectations and stakes are higher. The idea that you can just breeze through it is a myth. So let's cut through the nonsense and be honest with ourselves. Age brings wisdom and experience, but it also brings its own set of challenges. Dating in your 40s means navigating different waters, and it's not always smooth sailing. Embrace the truth and face it head on, because pretending won't make it any easier.
Boys or bad boys?
Bad boys. Bad boys.
Bad
What made you not want him? I thought he was too nice.
Most girls won't admit this, but for your sake, I will. I hate nice guys.
This is a reminder that finding someone who's willing to grow is more important than finding a perfect partner. The fact is, no one will ever be perfect for you. No matter how much you love someone, there will be days when they annoy you. There will be days when you're out of sync. You'll have that thing that you do differently that tends to be a point of contention. Most likely, you'll have different communication styles, and that alone will cause some frustration from time to time. The difference between couples who ultimately crumble and those who thrive is not a lack of friction. It's a willingness to grow with each other. Life is a long journey, and having someone by your side who's willing to grow and learn and be a better partner for you is going to feel a lot better than this idea of a perfect partner. So try widening your parameters for what a great partner will look like for you on the outside and focus in on what they'll look like on the inside.
It looks like women today aren't looking for someone to grow with. They're looking for someone to fund their lifestyle. If you aren't making a certain amount of money, it's a no-go. Relationships today are risky. There's little to gain and a lot to lose. It's not about finding love and building a connection anymore. Instead, it's about meeting financial criteria and ticking off boxes. The focus has shifted from mutual growth and support to material expectations and economic stability. This change has made relationships feel more like business deals than heartfelt connections. The stakes are higher now, and the genuine search for a meaningful partnership seems to be taking a back seat. It's a tough world out there for those looking for real love amid all these high expectations. Maybe it's time to rethink what truly matters and go back to the basics of connection, trust, and mutual respect.
I want to be loved. I want marriage. You know, a lot of us get on here, we act tough, and we be like, I don't want a man, I don't need a man, but I want him. I want to be loved. I want somebody to love me. I want somebody I can be vulnerable with. The problem is, and I'm not crying out because I'm sad, I'm crying out because it's like a release right now. But the problem for me, y'all, is that all the relationships that I had with men were not about love. It was about survival for me. I know how to fuck. I know how to cook. I know how to clean. I know how to seduce a man. I do not know how to love a man. And then to have a son, because of those choices that I was making, y'all, and I got pregnant really, really fast. I got pregnant within 90 days of knowing my baby daddy. And we don't talk about this shit because it's embarrassing and it hurts. It fucking hurts. And I'm mad with me. I'm not mad at men. I'm not mad at my life. I'm mad at me because I don't know how to fix me. I don't know how to fix it. That's accountability.
Deep down inside, this is how most modern women feel. They act tough and say they don't need a man, but really they do. They're unable to come out and say it because they lack taking accountability. These women would rather suffer in silence than open up and be truthful, not realizing that's making them more and more miserable until they break down. They put on a brave face, claiming independence, but the loneliness gnaws at them. The fear of admitting they need someone only fuels their isolation. It's like building a wall around themselves, higher and higher, until they can't see over it anymore. The truth is, needing someone doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. But by refusing to acknowledge this, they're digging themselves into a deeper hole of misery. The sooner they realize that it's okay to want a partner, to seek connection, the sooner they can break free from this cycle of silent suffering. It's time to embrace vulnerability and recognize that admitting you need someone is a strength, not a weakness. Only then can they find true happiness and fulfillment in their relationships.
Please don't catcall me unless you're attractive. Unless you're a 7, 8, 9, or 10. If you're a 10, you're probably not catcalling. But don't do it. I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that unless you're sexy.
This is the same standard women have for themselves when it comes to the gym. If an attractive guy hits on her at the gym, it's perfectly okay. But if it's not, it's creepy. The bottom line is, women are fine being catcalled as long as you're attractive. They're just angry at it when someone unattractive is doing it to them. In their imagination, they think they're so pretty that only certain men should be allowed to hit on them. It's a double standard that reveals a lot about societal expectations and personal biases. Attractiveness becomes the deciding factor in what's acceptable behavior, and this skewed perception just adds to the confusion in the dating world. Women need to realize that genuine connections aren't built on looks alone. By holding on to these superficial standards, they're missing out on potential meaningful relationships. It's time to move beyond the surface and value people for who they truly are, not just how they look. So let's drop the double standards and embrace a more genuine approach to interactions, whether in the gym or anywhere else. Because in the end, it's the person inside that truly counts.
No, I just need you to stop being nice to me unless you're gonna marry me after.
Here's what your Friday night looks like when you're single, 29, and you don't have kids yet. I decided to take myself out on a date last night and treated myself to some Caesar salad and bolognese, and it was so good. And then a friend of mine texted me to come over, and I did, and so we did some tarot, which was super fun. And guess who didn't rise out of bed until 10:45?
Why would we pay for drinks at the Clock Hotel?
Why? Who's paying?
The old men.
You guys into sugar daddies?
Yes. We're looking for a double sugar daddy date.
What have you got to offer the sugar daddy?
We have nothing. Ones where they don't want me. And gang. My friends are strippers.
Girls, can you tell us something your mum doesn't know?
We are both cocaine addicts. We love coke.
It's all fun and games until they reach 30. Then they start to feel the weight of their poor decisions from when they were younger. The carefree days of their 20s seem distant, and reality begins to hit hard. Suddenly, those choices they made, the ones that seemed like a good idea at the time, start to catch up with them. The nights out, the endless quest for perfection, and the dismissal of genuinely good guys now seem less glamorous. They begin to realize that their youthful indiscretions have led to a more challenging dating landscape in their 30s. The truth is, life doesn't come with a rewind button. They have to face the consequences of their past decisions. The pool of available partners gets smaller and the stakes get higher. It's a tough pill to swallow, but it's also a chance for growth and change. So, what's the takeaway? It's never too late to reassess and recalibrate, learn from those past mistakes, and start making choices that lead to a more fulfilling future. Because while the 30s might bring the weight of past decisions, they also offer the opportunity for new beginnings and real connections.
I think there are so many women in this sort of situation who end up single in their 30s who are amazing, and they don't seem to be meeting the right, well, you know, a guy that matches up to their level. But I think there's something to be said about the fact that when you are in your 30s and you have your own success and you've built your own life and you're independent, you don't need someone. So they have to be really, really special for you to want to actually invest your time in them.
The problem they face is the fact that they turn into the man they want. They're so picky at choosing a man, it's insane. They claim all of this success is making them feel happy, but it is only temporary. What kind of woman is actually happy in a big, empty home by herself? There are so many successful women struggling to find a man right now. They keep saying men are intimidated, but the truth is they don't want those men because of the amount of money they make. It's a very shallow reason. They've set the bar so high, it's practically in the clouds, and then wonder why they can't find a partner. Men aren't necessarily intimidated by successful women. They're turned off by the attitude that comes with it. It's not about the money or the job title. It's about connection, respect, and partnership. But when the criteria are all about income brackets and status symbols, it's no wonder the dating pool feels like a desert. It's time for a reality check. Genuine relationships are built on more than just financial success. They're about finding someone who complements your life, shares your values, and stands by you through thick and thin. So maybe it's time to lower the bar a bit and look for real connections rather than just checking off a list of superficial requirements.
The book is based on a survey where men and women were asked if they got 80% of everything they want in their ideal mate, would they be happy with that? And women said, no, that's settling. And men said, 80%, I'd be thrilled, that's a catch. And so
80% of the women you surveyed is settling?
That's settling because, the question is, what actually makes us happy in long-term romantic love? And, that's the question that I explore in the book. And I'm a journalist, so I went out and I asked neurobiologists about chemistry, and I asked behavioral economists about demographics, and I asked marital researchers.
What are women too picky about here?
Well, I'll tell you, men and women were asked what would be a deal breaker for going on a second date. And men named 3 things. They said she has to be cute enough. She doesn't have to look like Angelina Jolie. She just has to be cute enough. She has to be warm and kind. And she has to be interesting to talk to. Those seem like really valid criteria.
Ding, 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 ding. Pretty simple.
Right. Okay, reasonable, right? The women came back with 300 things that would rule out a guy for a second date. And we're talking about like another 2 hours and maybe a free dinner. And they wouldn't do it. And there were things like, he wore a brown belt with black shoes. Or we were having a really good time and I thought he was cute and he was interesting. But then he did this Austin Powers impression and I just can't get that out of my mind and I can't go out with him again. Austin Powers guy could be the love of her life.
In conclusion, you cannot make anyone happy. Everyone is responsible for their own happiness. It doesn't matter what you do or how you do it, it will never be enough for some women today. That's why it's better to look after yourself and focus on what you've got going on. People say modern women will die alone, but here's the truth. We all die alone. What truly matters is how we live our lives. We want to live life fully and only with someone who is the perfect match. It's better to be alone than to be unhappy in a relationship that doesn't bring joy. So, focus on your own personal growth and self-care. Embrace your independence, and if someone comes along who complements your life, that's great. If not, remember that happiness comes from within. Live life on your terms and don't settle for less than you deserve. Because in the end, it's about quality, not quantity, when it comes to love and companionship.
If you're over 30, still single, and wish you weren't, I've got some good and bad news for you. The bad news is it's your fault. The good news is, because it's your fault, you can do something about it. First, get your butt outside. You are not going to meet a 10 sitting on your couch. Second, learn to flirt. Starting can be as simple as paying a playful compliment like, "You have a phenomenal smile," to the barista who makes your coffee in the mornings. And third, close this app. Let's be honest, it is mostly a distraction.